Let me pop on the old video. So the neck actually connects up behind the ears, up underneath the jawline, and it's not super important to get the neck exactly right at the moment, but we can build it just for reference. And I would need a little bit more clay to do it properly anyway. But anyway, just for the sake of the hairline here. So the neck connects up into the backside and underneath of the cranium and behind the ears. And so it's good to have that for our hairline, just our general purposes. Of course, I crushed my ear here by accident, so let me go in and lift, in and lift, in and lift. I would normally connect the head to the neck before I did ears, before I did any of the features when we do our real clay sculpture, just so I don't have these issues. But anyway, all right, good enough, just so that we have a visual reference here. Okay, so we established the hairline, but then in order to add hair, we need to actually add it, right? So it's not good enough to just go in and like texture the head. Although if the person has a shaved head, maybe, but I would still suggest to add a tiny, tiny bit of clay anyway. Unless they're completely bald, then I would just sculpt it. But hair like significantly sort of jumps up off the head from the hairline. And so I actually need some clay now, so that was pretty stupid. So I'm gonna cut off a bunch of this here so I have clay to work with. There we go. All right, good enough, good enough. Okay. So then draw your hairline and then add the hair. And so depending on what hairstyle it is, obviously it's going to be much different. And depending on the type of hair that it is, it will wind up being different. But the basic rule for hair is to create it first as a general form, meaning don't try to make little strands of hair and make a million of them and think that that will work for making your hair. It just doesn't. It just feels goofy. There's no way that we'll ever recreate the number of hairs that's on a person's head for real. And so instead, what you want to do is you want to create a form almost like Mr. Potato Head hair or something, like where you would clip it on like a big piece of plastic. And then once it's on and the form feels correct, then you go in and texture it. So for this guy, I don't know, I'm gonna give him, I think I'll maybe give him like a little mohawk. How's that sound? And so the mohawk, the form of the mohawk would be like higher up in the middle, right? And so I go right to the hairline and then form it where I want it to be up in the middle, and then it kind of, I'm gonna have it fade its way down on the sides. Okay, so I'm gonna take that hair, I'm just gonna blend it down, blend it down, blend it down. You know, something like that. So I have more clay up in here, and then it tapers. I don't know. This is my first mohawk. This will be fun. But I stop where the hairline is. I would actually, once I blend that clay down, I would go back and reestablish the hairline, whether you got like a little bit of a widow's peak there or something, right? And build the form first. And get the clay attached well. All right, do be careful. I'm being really fast and kind of crushing my features and stuff while I'm doing this, and then going back and fixing them, just creating more work for myself. But then once you have the hair on and attached, kind of where you want the volume of your hair to be, then you can start to form that or shape it from the different angles, right? Don't worry about actually making it look like hair yet, in any sort of textured way. Okay, that will be last. That will be sort of what brings it all together. Okay, and it would actually, to be honest, now I'm a little bit short on clay here, and I don't have any more. That's all I got. But it would be good to actually have, even in areas like that are really, where the hair is really short, to have a little bit of clay added. Like so for the hairline here, I'm gonna add a little bit of clay, just so it has that tiny little bump up from the initial shape. Even though I know that that's super short hair, right? I just want to have that little bit of difference between the skin and the hair, right? So I add that little bit of clay there, or I go in and I could sculpt in the hairline, right? Something like that. And so now all the hair has clay where it should, where the hair is. And now it's a matter of forming it and then texturing it. Okay, back of the neck ain't the greatest here, just because I rushed that part and whatever. That doesn't, I don't want to spend forever on these little things with you. And so just go in and keep forming. Maybe start making a little bit of markings and stuff for a little bit of irregularity, like the tip of a mohawk would be, or whatever. I'm going to add one of these to this back of this hairline here too, just so that we have the appearance of skin and then hair, and that they're slightly different. And so again, I'm going to make like real thin clay here, and I'm just going to pull off in the very, very general shape, super thin clay, right? Just so I have a very small, minute difference, and then just blend it back so it just comes off the surface slightly. And then whatever you do to one side, do to the other side, make it as symmetrical as you can. And this would apply to long hair, this would apply to short hair, this would apply to curly hair, right? It's all about just making sure that you create the form first and then add the texture. So once your form feels good, you know, something like that, I don't know, whatever. Just having fun with it. You know, check yourself from the back angle, check yourself from the side angle, and then, oh man, I really flattened his nose out too. And then you would go in and use a tool of some sort to create texture. Now I have this little tool that's kind of like a fork. It's got multiple pieces in it. So I think that this might work good. And I would just kind of go in and, you know, pull this to create the direction of hair. And then that direction of hair maybe gives way to more like kind of stippling marks where the hair is shorter or something. I don't know. You just got to kind of like feel it out. Curly hair, I've seen students do all sorts of really innovative stuff with how to make curly hair look curly. This tool is okay. I mean, it's kind of creating a lot of crumbs, which I don't like, but whatever. Maybe just a real fork would work better. Let me try that. Yeah, let me just try a fork. And so it's just a matter of developing whatever tool that can create the mark that you're looking for the texture in the hair. But in actuality, the hair is just one big chunk, basically. One big chunk formed into the style that you want it to be. And it's added onto the head. My ears got kind of screwy, so I would have to go back and fix them, whatever. But yeah, you get the idea, I hope. You know, something like that. And so this is like my my 80s punk rock little dude. And even at this point, you can still shape things, you know. Of course, like stuff that got screwed up in the process of all this handling that I did on it and everything, go back and clean it up, okay? But I would like for you guys to complete a practice. I would like for you guys to decide on your idea. I would like for you guys to find references for your idea. And then I would like for you guys to start to practice, either work on real clay or at least be ready to work on real clay for next class. And that's pretty much all I got for you guys. And so any questions, anybody have any issues or something that I can address right now before you know, I just let you go and do your thing? Okay, I am going to give the link to the Padlet and ask that you guys share your practices to the Padlet so I can give you credit for the work that you're doing. And then next class will be just getting started into our real clay. Okay, so have your idea ready, have your references ready, you know, all that good stuff. Noonie. There's my little dude. It's Sid Vicious from the Ramones, or Joey Ramone. No, who's Sid Vicious? Sid Vicious is one of them dudes. I don't know. Back in the 80s, you know? So Sadie asks a very good question. Should we make a mock-up of our idea in modeling clay? Well, I'm not going to require that. You don't have to, right? We're gonna roll right into using real clay next class, at least the very basics of real clay next class. I would use this as like just a testing ground. Okay, so your practice is just like literally so we could do this together and you could practice along with me. And then I would use this as a testing ground to test out what a feature looks like, to test out what kind of hair you could play with or whatever. So I'm not going to require like a full small scale mock-up like completed or whatever. Although if you wanted to do that, that certainly would be a good idea. But I think that we're in a position where we can just roll right into it and then have this on the side to play with.